Yeah, 100%. And I think like going back to like life and as it was like, I want to kind of bring it back to where kind of some of the significant changes in your story of your life, and where it go through. So there is the aspect of where we were living. It had the bit of community feeling. It had all of this side, but it did also have another side to it in terms of where, there was some trouble. There was some kind of you know
Conflicts.
yeah, violence. There was everything that was, that it was a place that had everything in there. In your when you were younger, and you said you used to kind of almost got derailed off, or you did get derailed off. What made you different to everybody else at that point, and what was the environment like there? Especially if you could set the scene of like what the pressures and the pulls were to go down a certain lifestyle. What was that like?
Very, very, very real. Like the harsh reality is right. Your role models, the media you're consuming. I thought that the only way to be someone that had respect is someone that was tough, that was had a gangster image, um, and it was almost like you got a choice. You either be the bully or you be the victim. It almost felt like there's only two decisions, or you stand up for yourself because you're gonna get, in the street culture we'll call it violated. And the pool's always there because you got family members. Because even if it's not you that's getting into direct trouble, you got people that you know. And it's like when people are in conflict, people call you and you're expected to respond. You're expected to have their back. So it was very real. Like I definitely was not angel when I was a teenager. But the worst thing was I had a really warped philosophy, because I thought that masculinity and manhood was defined by how much money you had, how many girls you had or had slept with, and how tough you was. I literally was that simple. I know it sounds really ridiculous, Ricky, but
No,
that's
no,
how I used to
I
that's how I used to
understand.
value myself. I used to value myself against that. So I wasn't a man if I didn't have money in my pocket. I wasn't a man if I didn't have multiple girls and relationships. I wasn't a man if I couldn't fight someone and win and knock them out or whatever it was. And that was how you was getting your respect and your stripes. And I think for me, like, I went for a season where, like, especially when I became a teenager and I found the ability to hustle and wheel and deal and do different things to make money, I was got to a place now where I'm living this like,
What were you doing at that time? What kind of stuff was going on, or what? If you don't want to share your own story now, what was some of the other people around you doing?
yeah, it's everything. Like you're doing fraud. There's crime happening. You're just finding ways to make money. Is that making sense? Like just trying to do anything like criminality. And one of the things that was crazy for me, Ricky, was I remember this time I started to go out like partying, raving, and I used to go Broad Street a lot. And then I do Broad Street till like at 2 a.m. in the night. Broad Street's a famous street in Birmingham for those that don't know. Google it. And after that, you go to like what people call the shub-ins, like the after party. That will probably start at 4 o'clock and don't finish till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And I remember, you got cash in your pocket, you're buying drinks and you're doing all the dancing with the girls. And I remember going home night after night and I'm like, I'm not happy, man. There's something missing in my life. And I couldn't put my finger on it because I'm doing the things based on this value system that I have. Be tough, have money, and have girls. And I'm like, I still don't feel peace. I do not feel fulfilled. And what happened for me is like when my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife of 15 years, fell pregnant or got pregnant, I kind of said to myself, I didn't want to be like the men that I had seen growing up in my life. I didn't have much positive role models, to be honest. So
What were the role models at that
men,
time?
men that had loads of kids but they wasn't looking after them, and I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be that in my children's life. And it just so happened that the person who had my first child was someone that I actually loved, even though that at the time as a teenager, Ricky, was something hard to confess, to talk to demand them, to talk to men about, like, I actually love her, that was kind of seen as being soft. It's weird. it's all warped when you think about it, the environment you can grow up in. But anyway, I started to attend a church in Nechells, Birmingham, and I can't explain it to this day, but I felt such a peace and such a sense of like finding my purpose and finding my why. And there's a quote that I always use, Ricky, when I'm doing speeches and talks, and it's one of my favorite quotes, and it says, "The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why." And I felt like when I came to faith and I gave my life to Christ and started to walk a kind of born again Christian life, it's like the money that I had around me couldn't compare. The girls couldn't compare. This macho fake image that I had couldn't compare. And I just found peace and I found purpose. And then I started to pursue the charity work, what I've talked about already. And then through that, I've had offshoot organizations and companies through that. And I'm just now much more happy, much more peaceful. I now have 4 daughters with my wife. We've been together for 15 years. I've been completely, I don't know, it sounds like a mad thing to say on a podcast, but I know from where I'm coming from, I've been completely faithful for the last 15 years. And for me, that's a ridiculous miracle, because based on how I was like indoctrinated, I was indoctrinated in a different philosophy. So being faithful was not something that I even thought I could do or achieve. But I felt that through my faith and through, God saying to me that he will be with me and he wouldn't leave me nor forsake me, and he'll give me guidance. And I've been on that path. And yeah, now me and my wife run our companies like what we have.